This version of the clone is the exact same as the episode 2 clone, just with cooler armor. Unfortunately, the episode 3 clone is the same deal as the standard clone regarding the disarmed trooper extra. They are affected as well. It does make a bit more sense for the episode 3 clone since they turn on you in the defensive Kashyyyk level, but still, for the majority of episode 3, they're still your friend. But I'm willing to give these guys a break. They're basically just like any other version of the clone. They can use grapple points, but then again, any character with the gun can use grapple points. Hell, even Jedi can use grapple points if you have the Force Grapple extra enabled. Alright, the disguised clones look like idiots, I'm willing to admit. The reason they're above episode 3 clones is because they look different. Really, that's the only reason. The episode 3 clone is just white. These guys are in standard uniform from the neck down. From the neck up, a hood? A brown hood at that, and you can see their face. Count me in. Well, I'm still out since the disarmed trooper extra still applies to them, sorry to say. These guys make their cameo in the Ruin of the Jedi level. They're dinky as hell, man. Remember when I complained about there being 4 versions of the battle droid? Well, there are also 4 versions of the clone trooper. 5 versions if you count the episode 2 clone and the disguised clone. And wow, this one's so much different. Look at that little symbol on his helmet. Really, they tried too hard to add characters in some instances, and these clones are great examples. Having parentheses after the name of a character to distinguish what type they are is common in LEGO games. I don't really have a problem with it. For example, Rebel Trooper with Hoth in parentheses after is fine since you need to make sure that it's a different character. I do, however, have a problem when there's a comma inside the parentheses, like in this case. I know it's nitpicky, but the character would have been fine if you just named it Clone Trooper with the Walker in parentheses. No one would have cared. This is just like Hunger Games Mockingjays' questionable punctuation in its titles. I'm pretty sure I'm the only person who really cares about this issue, but I need to talk about something, right? This clone also suffers from the same problem as the Walker clone. I think my main problem with the comma in parentheses is that it makes the character's name way too long, and I have to shrink the name a lot in order for it to be able to fit in that little transition between segments. I chose the Swamp clone over the Walker clone because the Swamp clone has more going on. He's green and everything. The Walker clone just has a little stamp on his helmet and not much else. We're finally to the last clone on the list, unless you count the Stormtrooper characters, which you shouldn't. This is the Pilot clone. Frankly, I put this one above the others because he has a lot more going on regarding his armor. More than Swamp clone, and definitely more than the Walker and Standard clone. These guys don't show up anywhere at all, I don't think. But these guys in the actual movie did show up in the Battle over Coruscant, which makes sense. I'm pretty sure one of these guys die, right? This is the first of the Imperial characters. In case you've never played LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, there's a mechanic where only certain characters can get past doors using a panel. These said characters are Imperials. In the Death Star levels, you use this mechanic a lot, as you need to trick the camera on the panel into thinking that you're an Imperial as well. As you can imagine, it gets super frustrating, but that's not the point. The point is, this guy's little pistol and shooting stance is the only thing this guy has going for him. I mean, it doesn't look like he cares about shooting you. Probably one of the most iconic throwaway enemies. By throwaway, I mean they get killed a lot. The Stormtrooper, we all know them. They come in multitudes in the Death Star levels and they get really annoying. That is until you use the Disarmed Trooper extra. That extra is a blessing when it comes to the Death Star levels, especially in the Escape the Death Star. In case you don't know, the Escape the Death Star level recreates that part in the special edition where Han Solo runs after those stormtroopers and then runs into a room with literally hundreds of them. By the way, why would all of those stormtroopers be in one room in such close proximity? Also, before I end the segment, never double jump with any type of stormtrooper. They always fall on their face and take forever to get up. Of course, right after the Stormtrooper is the Sandtrooper. They aren't that different at all, it's just that the Sandtrooper has that backpack and orange shoulder cape, or whatever that's called. The Sandtrooper makes me question the Stormtrooper's name. The Sand in Sandtrooper implies that its purpose is for desert environments, right? And the Snowtrooper implies that its purpose is for snowy environments, right? So what's the Stormtrooper for? Storms? I don't get it. The most logical name for Stormtroopers would be Star Troopers, since they're mostly in the Death Star. I'm clever, right? The only problem is that it's too close to Death Star Troopers, but it wouldn't matter since the Death Star Troopers are dumb and not needed. I chose the Snowtrooper over the Sandtrooper and Stormtrooper because it looks the most different. I've seen enough Stormtroopers, and Sandtroopers are just Stormtroopers with a few add-ons. Snowtroopers' helmets are unique and their armor actually makes sense for the climate it's in. Snowtroopers' armor is good camouflage. I don't know why most versions of the Stormtrooper is white. I mean, a Scout Trooper's armor being white doesn't make much sense for a place like Endor. Although I'm pretty sure I've seen some camo Scout Troopers, so I guess it's good. This is the last of the real Stormtrooper variants, the TIE Fighter Pilot. You know how I complain that most Stormtrooper variants are white when they shouldn't be? Yeah, well, the TIE Fighter Pilot puts that complaint to rest. This guy is all black. Just when you thought that you've seen them all, this guy comes out of the shadows and knocks your ass down. Well, not really. He's just like every other Stormtrooper in the game, just with black armor instead of white. A change in color on your uniform is all it takes to put you above the others, I guess.